Football Less is brought to you by PCNFS Logistics. There is only one football. Find football replicas. See City Lawyers and lawyers that come to you. And Arrow Sports. Find playing kits for all the clubs.
Well, that's tonight, guys, live right now. Some surprises tonight, some little things that you might find really amusing as well. Welcome to Footballers, everybody tell me. Brought to you by PCNFS Logistics, International Shipping and Distribution Goods South Australia. There is only one football, fine football replicas, and of course, CCD Lawyers, the lawyers that come to you, Carlos Bielli. Let's do it, guys. Let's all sing right now together, guys. Let's party again. Hey! The cup of life, this is the one. Now is the time, don't never stop. We should've known, gotta be strong. We should've known, right from the top. And when you feel the heat, the world is at your feet. No one can hold you back if you really want it, Carlos. I see it in your eyes, you want the cup of life. Night the days, here you gotta get it, Kenny. Do you really want it? Tell me right now, people. Do you want it, everybody? Hey, here we go. Aliyah, we are the people. We are the passion. We are the history, guys. Boy, have we got a lot to say to you tonight, guys. Let me tell you, guys, it's our way, the highway. Definitely our way, the highway. Welcome, everyone, to Football. Before I bring the gentleman on right now, let me tell you so. Oh, they're clapping their hands in. Oh, boy. Let me tell you right now. The last two games, the Matildas, I'm saying to myself, have we turned the corner? Have we done something right? Is something missing here? Is there something missing? Have we become the Socceroos all over again? Have we changed? Have we become the Socceroos? We can't score, we can't win, but there's changes on the horizon. I'm going to be the devil's advocate. Carlos, can you please tell me what is going on, man? Carlos Bielli.
There's nothing sinister going on with the Matildas. They've chosen, which is very rare, to have a 2-week window at home. And we have to congratulate FA for bringing out Brazil, which is a team in transition as well, because the great Marta has retired, a couple of other Cristiani has retired, so it's a team in transition and rebuild. And it was great for the Matildas, established Matildas, and some of the younger ones like Daniela Galic who have been called into camp to experience that level of football and finesse on the ball. I don't think the Matildas are imitating the Socceroos with greater chances. The final pass to the striker was a bit short, wasn't accurate enough, and Brazil had the speed and the vision when they had a chance to score. And that's the difference between us and Brazil. They defended really well. Physically, they were something we never expected from Brazil, but then we matched them with the physicality. However, the final touch at times needed to be better, and we just didn't do it as good as the Brazilians did.
Now, Kenny, let me tell you something last night. The way the Brazilian girls became really tough and grabbing the girls, pulling by their jumpers and everything, shouldn't there have been some kind of red card somewhere or something like this shown? Something like this shown by the referee was very soft. Now, the thing is, why would they go on and grab the girls, pull them down, and the girls are pushing them back and fighting? Mate, it looked like a WWE tag team match.
Mate, the game's gone soft, mate. That was.
Did you see it? Did you see that? Oh my God!
You know, I mean, the reality is that look, I thought the two games against Brazil were quite very entertaining. I think we structurally look a far better side than we have in a long time. I think we go at people. We've got a few players missing. Mary Fowler's a big loss at the moment. And like Carlos says, we're in a little bit of a transition. We're in good hands. Tommy Samani and John Paul. You know, they've been there, done that. They've been through the women's game, the men's game, and they will steady the ship. And I think they'll get us playing what I consider, you know, back to probably the stage period of going going at teams and looking like we might win. So yeah, it's just a little bit of time. We've got a couple of young girls coming through there that are starting to make the mark. That probably should have got a bit more game time under the previous coach, but never got it. So look, I've got high hopes for the Matildas over the next 12 months.
It's really funny to everyone out there to tell you right now, we're talking about the World Cup. The girls didn't qualify. They were walked in because they get the chance to play. They don't have to qualify. Now, of course, we've got the Asian Cup, and they're walking into it again because they don't have to qualify. They just walk into it as the host. Now, we're not playing. We're showing these games, Carlos, here, the tough games for the girls right now. Aren't we doing that a little bit early?
No, I think the more games we play. Look, there's one good point about Gustafsson's tenure. He had them playing against top 10 opposition in the world. Spain, Holland, Germany. Yes, we got hammered. Charlotte Grant made, I think, a debut against Spain. We got hammered 5-0, 8-0 from memory. Look at where she's at now. So, while I think we need to play more games against quality opposition from different parts of the world to get used how they play for us to adapt. Yes, the Brazilians were shirt pulling, they were physical. That is part of the game to disrupt your rhythm. And the referee, I don't think any of the shirt pulling was worth a red. Yes, yellows were dished out, and that's only fair. And I think FA is on the right path. By Chinese Taipei will offer another level of opposition. A lot of the youngsters like Daniela Galic will come into Chinese Taipei. Bielli Carpenter will be given a rest. Charlotte Grant will come in a right back. So he has to tweak the two games, and he has to introduce new players against Chinese Taipei to give the established players who play in Europe non-stop a rest and see what the other players can do. And the key here is that whoever is appointed as the next national coach of the Matildas, I'm hoping that he or she follows the system that Samani has put together and continues the development of Matildas. If we come back, put a new coach, and he throws whatever Samani has done out the window, they'll be counterproductive.
Well, this is where I want to talk to you, Kenny, about Tommy, of course. You've known him for many years. You've known him as a coach for many years now. Mate, you go back, you're like brothers, mate. You're like brothers. You know his edge as a coach.
When I was 17, I played with Tommy for about 6 or 7 months prior to coming here at Albion Rovers. And Tommy was a quality football player. Mm-hmm. Played in Scotland, played in England. He's a school teacher. So he's my little bit of a mentor. He used to pick me up, take me to training. So I've known Tommy since 1976.
Oh my God!
And then, of course, Dougie Collins brought Tommy here to play for Marconi in 83, 84. So we sort of re-engaged then. I hadn't seen him for 8 or 9 years. So yeah, me and Tommy go way back. And of course, his pedigree, in the women's game is immense, but also in the men's game. He was Eddie Thompson's assistant in Japan. He's obviously coached in the NSL, played in the NSL. So he covers all bases, and obviously coached the USA, yes, New Zealand, obviously Australia previously,
Canada,
yeah. So he really is. Have gone well travel, and he's, as I say, he's quality. So for me, I say I'm a little bit biased, but they couldn't be in better hands, in my opinion.
Yeah, and let me just say, my number one question is this. I'm going to ask Carlos first and see what he says. Will they keep Tommy Samani? If they keep him for a long time, let me say one thing. He's now implementing new players coming in. He's doing a lot of different things with them. He's training them. He's doing things. He's playing a different game, a more of attacking game than, of course, Tony Gustafsson is doing. And to me, it's like if you keep him there for the next 6 months, what is the use changing him when the next coach is going to come in and change everything again? You tell me.
No. Tom Samani has made it very clear that he doesn't want the job full time. He was here to steady the ship and bring some credibility back to the Matildas after a horrible Paris Olympics campaign. I think we all agree if he were to change his mind, it would be an amazing appointment as a full-time coach. But from the day he was approached to become the interim coach, he said, I'll do it short term to help everyone for the sake of the game, but he said he doesn't want the job full time. His challenge is to make the Western Sydney Wanderers a winning team in the Women's League, and they haven't done well in the last 5 years. So whoever comes next, I hope, sits down with Samani over a long football conversation and sees the good work they have put in and follows us through and takes us to the next level.
Now Kenny, is there any hints that you've heard that he wants the job? Does he want the job? He doesn't want it at all?
Look, I think Tommy's at the stage of his life where, he's happy something in the short to mid-term. I don't think he's interested in the I suppose the grueling travelling and the excessive matches that he has to do to keep up to speed with a permanent gig. So I don't think he would take it long term, but that's not to say he might not take it for another year and a half or a year.
This is my point. This is my point, Kenny.
Yeah.
If you keep him on that long, you just can't bring someone else in after that.
Well, the issue is who's available and are they good enough, or are they the quality that we need to get us back to 4th or 5th in the world? Because we've set that set that bar.
Yes, he did.
And if you remember, we played Brazil at Penrith. That would have been, is it 7-8 years ago? Yeah, I've sort of lost track of time, and we beat them at Penrith. So he set a very high bar back then, 4th, 5th in the world. I don't know where we're sitting now, 14th or 15th. So we've got a long way to climb back to the heady heights of under the Stage era. But look, I think we'll get some good young girls coming through. Just need the right coach, right structure, right discipline. I think that's been missing in the last 5 or 6 years. I think player power took control, and I think we paid the price for that. And I think we've we got humbled dramatically in Paris. We were awful, and I think the players have got to take the responsibility for that. I think they thought they were better than what they really were, and I don't think we were well organised and well coached. Yes. With respect. So we move on, and as I say, I thought the 2 games against Brazil were highly entertaining. I really enjoyed watching it.
And one player on the field was this goalkeeper, Micah. Carlos, she was absolutely brilliant. She kept the Matildas in the game yesterday. She kept them in the game.
Well, she was the number one before Mackenzie Arnold burst. She was the number one 2 years ago. Then, as it happens, you have an injury, a dip in form, and another player steps up. And Mackenzie Arnold has done nothing wrong for the Matildas when she has had a time between the sticks. So it's good to see the rotation of the goalkeepers, because they both need to be exposed to the highest level of football. We are blessed both in the men's game and the women's game that we seem to produce a highly unusual good numbers of very decent goalkeepers. If you look at the men's game,
exactly.
Bosanic, all these other players who grew up playing overseas, who were goalkeepers, and they through NSL went through, and Reddy was another one. So we have, somehow we seem to produce goalkeepers of very good quality, both in the women's and the men's game.
That's funny, Kenny. And of course, the game on Wednesday night, it's only a couple of days away. They play in Geelong. Here we go again, playing on an AFL ground. I'd want to see, we're playing against Chinese Taipei. I can't believe how many games they're bringing in. So quick, straight in. Tommy's going to be, he's got his...
In fairness, the FA, most of the money that we've been invested in national teams has been going into the Matildas in the last 4 or 5 years. In fairness, we've certainly that can't be criticised, because they've certainly spent a lot of money trying to develop and push the Matildas. I suppose we've got half decent sponsors for them. We've got reasonably decent TV rights for them. We've just got the men's have just got to play catch up.
Exactly, and I see so many of the Matildas games coming through these friendlies. Are we going to see very many Socceroo games? I'm just trying to say myself, can we play more Socceroo games?
No, well,
Carlos?
there's no FIFA window till next March, so there'll be no Socceroo games at all till the next round of qualifiers come along. This was a FIFA window for the women's game.
Yes,
there was no qualifiers of any sort. So FA made the call to bring the Tealies home, maximise exposure, maximise revenue. For the Socceroos, there's nothing there's no friendlies, there's nothing between now and March next year.
And this is what I want to bring up to you, Kenny, as well. There's a few, maybe about 20 years ago, when the 2006 boys, of course, the generation, the golden generation, they were saying that we love to play friendlies. Most of the boys are playing in Europe. So what did they do? They went and played games in England, if you remember. Remember those friendlies they played in England, Kenny? I think it's time those guys who are overseas start playing friendlies again. Whether we have enough of them playing in the top leagues in Europe is another thing, but I think we need to go back and start playing more games in England. Of course, we brought the players in there, we gave them friendlies, and they were all shown on TV in Australia. Yeah. I think it's time that we did something.
Harry, as Carlos reminds you, you can only play in the FIFA windows. They can't play.
So there's nothing to play. Forget it.
You can't play anywhere. And that's for every national team. It's not just for the Socceroos. So the windows we've got, we're cramming that much football into a year as we speak. We'll need Houdini to try and fit all the games in. That we've got these extended Europas and
Champions
Leagues, and then qualifiers for the World Cup, European Championships. It's never ending. So we've got a situation where we've really maximised ourselves. We've milked the calendar to the extent there isn't any other space.
And of course this is what's happening right now in Oceania. They're playing more games than us, and that's really funny. That's happening for New Zealand, but they've already qualified, gentlemen. They've qualified for the World Cup already, Kenny. They've got to play one more game. They win it, they're in. It doesn't matter. It makes no. That's so easy for them this time around. It's not funny.
Yeah, but me and Carlos is over 55 teams to qualify for the World Cup this round.
Are you guys going to go?
48 teams. Jesus Christ!
Oh my God, guys! Honestly.
Look, it's great. It's great for New Zealand. Look, New Zealand went to the 2010 World Cup in South Africa.
Yes.
They didn't disgrace themselves.
No,
they
drew
three games.
Every game.
So it's great for New Zealand and the development of New Zealand football as a whole to have qualified for the World Cup, because 2010 with a smaller pool of players, they did very well. And now, good for them. And if they qualify the next game, they have a year and a half to start scouting
Yes.
and find the right players to have a really decent crack at it and maybe get a win, rather than 3 draws. But well done to New Zealand.
Yes. Now, I'm going to go and say something what's happening in Melbourne in the next few days, and everybody's listening to me right now.
Ooh.
If this is a last minute thing happening. It was advertised a few days ago, and let me tell you what's going on here. And they were in Adelaide a few days ago. Now, this is going to be music to people's ears in Melbourne. Whether you know about what's happening on the 7th, is the 7th a Saturday, Carlos? Is it a Saturday? It must
Yes.
be. Now, it's a Saturday. And guess
it is Saturday.
Guess who's turning up all the way from Europe? There's 2 players from the 2004 Greek team that won the Euro. They're coming to Brunswick City Soccer Club, of course. They're called Soccer Club. So sorry about that, but that's what they're saying. He's coming, and Garagunis is coming as well. He's coming as well. So they're going to be there. My God, guys, this is going to be a massive party. There's things happening on the day.
Jurgen Klopp's here at the moment too. You might as well get him in.
Is he in Australia? Is he here?
Apparently he was in Adelaide the other day.
He could be looking for a job to in Australia after what's going on in England. Can he?
Yeah,
that's the other thing too.
I think he's on a bit of a holiday, but
he needs it. He needs it. He needs it.
There was a photograph the other day. Someone, South Australia, saw him in the street, got a photograph, and he apparently heading to Melbourne at the weekend.
Yeah.
So he could be looking
who's
for
missing is King Otto.
Yes, I saw the documentary, Carlos. I saw the documentary.
That was a beautiful documentary.
What a documentary! And the problem was I couldn't see it during COVID.
King Otto.
I couldn't see it, and he's singing the Greek national anthem in Greek. I couldn't believe it, mate. Every time, actually, what you just said. Every time he's in the streets of Athens. Come in, Otto. Come in. Free this, free that, free food, free dinner, everything.
Well,
free
he's
copies.
King Otto is like when.
Forget King. Well, that was like me. Mate, when I lived in Sydenham in Marrickville.
Yes, you told me.
Olympic days. Mate, I'd go down Marrickville Road. I never paid for anything from hardware stores to hamburgers to not a thing. Next chicks, mate. The Greeks are the most,
generous.
They're the most. They are. Yeah, they're the most generous race in the world.
Unbelievable, and this is happening on Saturday, guys. So please check on Brunswick City's Facebook site. It's all there. The information's there. I can imagine the crowd. I can imagine the kids and everything. I'd love to go and do some filming if I can. I'm going to be speaking to Louis tomorrow. Can I bring my cameras and do things, interview them? Maybe I can. I don't know. We'll find out about that. But this is the thing, guys. I want to talk about the game on of course, on Friday night. Of course, Adelaide United versus Perth Glory. Honestly, Carlos, did you see that game? Some of those decisions that I saw, people were saying, it's a penalty. No, it's not a penalty. It's a penalty. It was offside. It's a disgrace.
At the end of the day, teams, we win as a team and we lose as a team.
We know that.
The referee makes the call. VAR was there. Let's get on with it. Move on. Show me a game around the world at any given time that the referee or their linesman do not cop any flack. Just get on with it.
Honestly.
So what? You can't blame the referee for an error. Just get on with it and move on.
Kenny, I spoke to the Oracle. About this game, and he said, no, there's no
Oracle.
way. The Oracle. And I said, listen, any day that you see any NPL game in Victoria, and I've seen penalties given, and I'm saying to myself, well, people said that's not a penalty, and they're fighting and they're screaming and shouting, where is VAR? Where is VAR? Can they afford VAR in the NPL, everyone? Can we start doing this? Can somebody do something about this? Because
they're getting rid of VAR in Europe already.
Thank God for that.
They're getting rid of it, and they've got a new system.
Oh no!
Which will change. So they're getting rid of the stoppages are too long.
It is
too many complete. I mean, when you watch a game now,
too long.
The extra time can go into 10 or 12 minutes. So
it's too much.
It's too much. So I think FIFA have trialled a new pseudo VAR.
AI.
Yeah, and they're going to go with that and give the referees and the linesmen back the power that they originally had.
Thank God.
And mate, you know what? Back in our day, they'll make mistakes, as Carlos says. Linesmen will make mistakes.
Yes.
But that's what you argue. You go to the pub, and it's part of the game. It's part of the fabric of the game. And, the referee is actually part of the game. It's like the linesman's part of the game. So if they make a mistake, it can cost you a game. If they give you a decision, it can win you a game. So it's all part of the whole fabric of what we used to be able to watch. Nowadays, even with VAR, they get it wrong. They've got to go back to. For me, the offside rule is just, it's just torrentially bad. If you're offside, you're offside. The old rule was perfect. Go back to the old rule. If you're in an offside position, there's got to be two players, including the goalkeeper, between you and the goals. Forget the rest of this nonsense. But he wasn't interfering with play, and it drives you mad.
But interfering with play was there with the old rule as well.
Oh my God!
What I find difficult to understand, and I know that football evolves, and we have to evolve with football. It is how late that flag goes up. People are running for it.
You only told me recently, Carlos. When I played, if you were offside, you're offside. And as Bill Shankly famously said, if any of my Liverpool players on the pitch aren't interfering with play, they won't be playing with Liverpool. The reality is, the players should be smart enough to look along the line and make sure you stay on side. If you don't, you should be.
The lateness of the flag is just crazy because you keep running, and then the flag goes out. Why not just put the flag as soon as the ball comes to you and you're running with it? But anyway, it is what it is. There was the evolution of football.
On that Friday night last week, of course, it was 2-2. Of course, I couldn't believe it, and apparently one goal shouldn't have been a goal. They're saying, but honestly, to see that little bit of your elbow just over that line and saying to me that's offside, just that little bit, Kenny, how stupid could you say it was so strict? VAR is so strict that it could pick that little bit of an elbow to say that's not a goal. Come on, that's like you said. I hope it fixes.
Can I remind you? You're talking to a Scotsman.
I know.
You remember 1966, Germany, England.
Oh yes, we know that very well.
Yeah, we can argue that till the cows come home. That ball was never ball was never over the line. A pig fit.
Now, what you just said? Could we use VAR to pick that as a video? Could VAR do that? Could VAR fix that? Could VAR say it's not a goal? Could VAR be used in VAR? Could it be used?
Yeah, of course. The ball has a sensor that is connected to the referee's watch. When the ball crosses a line, the sensor beeps. So, bang, goal, no questions asked. So, football has changed. Mm-hmm. Now, the ball, as I said, has a little sensor that as soon as the whole ball crosses a line, the referee's watch, which is really high-tech, cost about $5,000 to purchase off the shelf, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Goal is a goal. We don't have that controversy anymore.
Please, as you said, Kenny, when is this going to come out? Please, can we get it before Christmas as a Christmas present for the game? Hopefully, mate, bring it as soon as possible, guys. We want to get rid of this stupid thing. Let me go to the next game, guys. Auckland FC versus Newcastle Jets 2. Mate, they're flying. These guys are flying. This new club, this new team is flying. What do you think of what's going? Bill Foley spent money in places that, and their crowds are amazing.
Happened with Western United, mate, in the debut season too. The issue is going to be, can they maintain it, and can the A-League maintain a quality that sort of stops them from becoming dominant?
Yes.
Because at the moment they look as though they're going to be a dominant team.
Exactly.
Look, there's been some decent games, but you certainly couldn't say that the quality of the A-League, for example, the Mariners, they're far short of last season and the season before.
Well,
the Wanderers are far short.
Carlos?
But the Mariners had to sell 6 players who were quality to balance the book. So you expected the Mariners to struggle, at least at the beginning, having to blood all the youngsters. The Wanderers are truly, with all respect to Stajic, a disappointment to say the least. you have this marquee player, or Juan Mata, who you bring out top dollar, and yet we yet to build a team around him like you build with Messi. So the Wanderers, to me, are the biggest disappointment in the league.
It is.
Because they've brought players and yet they're not performing. They lost the derby in diabolical defending. So it is, and they win away to Melbourne City, who
Yep, that's the next game I'm talking about. Yep.
Very poor. But they had 9 first-grade players in the hospital ward.
Jesus. So they're
but I think the point you made, you raised the point originally. You know, when you start looking at someone like Central Coast Mariners, you know, they won everything and still had to sell, and that's indicative of the state of the A-League. And that still never balanced the books, by the way. Like you just
still lost.
Refresh your memories. They still lost over $2 million and won everything, and got reasonably healthy 7,500, 8,000 every second week gates. So, and the Mariners have always sold players from day dot. I mean, look at
balance books.
Yeah, they've always done that. But when you look at the competition, I mean, Perth is awful. You know, they're awful. I mean,
oh boy.
Yeah, Macarthur's okay. Newcastle are just a journeyman young lads. You know, they've got no money, so you know they're throwing young kids in there, and they're doing all right. But it's a reflection, and this is supposed to be our elite competition.
It is,
and it's so underfunded and so underdeveloped at the stage we're sitting at now. It's gone backwards.
It has
since 2007, 2008. It's gone backwards at a massive rate of knots since the days of Del Piero and Dwight York and Emil Heskey, etc., etc. And you know, talking about Juan Mata, I mean, there's got to be a reason why that. I mean, my understanding is he's just not even close to being fit. I mean, at his age, 36, 37, you can't afford to not play for 12 or 14 months. And that's pretty much what he did. He played, I think, 2 games in 14 months. So, and then you come here and the humidity and the heat, you know, he's a long way short. And in fairness, they brought him on the other night in Sydney FC, and the wheels fell off. You know,
but it wasn't Mata's fault.
No, I'm not suggesting that. But he you can't build a team around Juan Mata. You know, he can massage it, and he can use them in certain ways, creativity wise, because he's a creative player. But he's certainly not going to be a 90-minute player in Australia in summer in a pink fit. So I don't, and I'll probably suggest that Stage wasn't involved in bringing him here in the first place.
No, I think it was someone else. Was it with a bit of money?
It would be somebody else. But the reality is that, you know, they've gone close to winning games, and they were a bit unfortunate in a couple of games. You know, I thought they played quite well against Sydney FC.
Yeah, they did. Beautiful equaliser, beautiful goal.
Yeah, I thought they played quite well. I mean, and I quite enjoyed the game. But you know, it's a real patchy A-League in quality.
And let me, Kenny. The one thing I'll say right now is that next game we're looking at right now is, of course, Melbourne City and Western Sydney Wanderers. I mean, you would think that because of the Sheikh owning, he owns the football group, of course, the Manchester City, and he owns Melbourne City, and he owns New York City FC, the City group. You'd think they'd be bringing big players, but here we go. Western Sydney Wanderers 2-0 in Melbourne, and that's disappointing.
Melbourne City, without anyone really talking about it, are the huge disappointment.
They are massive,
because they've in the last 2 seasons have gone from being a really, really terrific team to below average. And
I think when Patrick left, is to the referee's watch, when the ball crosses a line, the sensor beeps. So, bang, goal, no questions asked. So, football has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the ball, as I said, has a little sensor that as soon as the whole ball crosses a line, the referee's watch, which is really high tech, cost about $5,000 to purchase off the shelf, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Goal is a goal. We don't have that controversy anymore.
Please, as you said, Kenny, when is this going to come out? Please, can we get it before Christmas as a Christmas present for the game? Hopefully, oh, mate, bring it as soon as possible, guys. We want to get rid of this stupid thing. Let me go to the next game, guys. Auckland FC versus Newcastle Jets 2. Mate, they're flying. These guys are flying. This new club, this new team is flying. What do you think of what's going? Bill Foley spent money in places that, and their crowds are amazing.
Haven't we Western United, mate, in the debut season too? The issue is going to be, can they maintain it, and can the A-League maintain a quality that sort of stops them from becoming dominant?
Yes.
Because at the moment they look as though they're going to be a dominant team.
Exactly.
I mean, look, there's been some decent games, but you certainly couldn't say that the quality of the A-League, for example, the Mariners, they're far short of last season and the season before.
Well,
the Wanderers are far short.
Carlos?
But the Mariners had to sell 6 players who were quality to balance the book. So you expected the Mariners to struggle, at least at the beginning, having to blood all the youngsters. The Wanderers are truly, with all respect to Stajic, are a disappointment to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
You have this marquee player, or Juan Mata, who you bring out top dollar, and yet we yet to build a team around him like you build with Messi. So the Wanderers, to me, are the biggest disappointment in the league.
It is, because
they brought players, and yet they're not performing. They lost the derby in diabolical defending. So it is, and they win away to Melbourne City, who
that's the next game I'm talking about. Yep.
Very poor, but they had 9 first-grade players in the hospital ward.
Jesus. So they're
but I think the point you made, you raised the point originally. You know, when you start looking at someone like Central Coast Mariners, you know, they won everything and still had to sell, and that's indicative of the state of the A-League. And that still never balanced the books, by the way. Like you just
still lost.
Refresh your memories. They still lost over $2 million, and won everything, and got reasonably healthy 7,500, 8,000 every second week gates. So, and the Mariners have always sold players from day dot. I mean, look at
balance books.
Yeah, they've always done that. But when you look at the competition, I mean, Perth is awful. You know, they're awful. I mean,
oh boy.
Yeah, MacArthur's okay. Newcastle are just a journeyman young lads. You know, they've got no money, so you know they're throwing young kids in there, and they're doing all right. But it's a reflection, and this is supposed to be our elite competition.
It is,
and it's so underfunded and so underdeveloped at the stage we're sitting at now. It's gone backwards.
It has
since 2007, 2008. It's gone backwards at a massive rate of knots since the days of Del Piero and Dwight York and Emil Heskey, etc., etc. And you know, talking about Juan Mata, I mean, there's got to be a reason why that. I mean, my understanding is he's just not even close to being fit. I mean, at his age, 36, 37, you can't afford to not play for 12 or 14 months. And that's pretty much what he did. He played, I think, 2 games in 14 months. So, and then you come here and the humidity and the heat, you know, he's a long way short. And in fairness, they brought him on the other night in Sydney FC, and the wheels fell off. You know,
but it wasn't Mata's fault.
No, I'm not suggesting that, but he you can't build a team around Juan Mata. You know, he can massage it, and he can use them in certain ways. Creativity wise because he's a creative player. But he's certainly not going to be a 90-minute player in Australia in summer in a pink fit. So I don't, and I'll probably suggest that Stage wasn't involved in bringing him here in the first place.
No, I think it was someone else. Was it with a bit of money?
It would be somebody else. But the reality is that they've gone close to winning games, and they were a bit unfortunate in a couple of games. I thought they played quite well against Sydney FC.
Yeah, they did. Beautiful equaliser, beautiful goal.
Yeah, I thought they played quite well. I mean, and I quite enjoyed the game. But it's a real patchy A-League in quality.
And let me, Kenny. The one thing I'll say right now is that next game we're looking at right now is, of course, Melbourne City and Western Sydney Wanderers. I mean, you would think that because of the Sheikh owning, he owns the football group, of course, the Manchester City, and he owns Melbourne City, and he owns New York City FC, the City Group. You'd think they'd be bringing big players, but here we go. Western Sydney Wanderers 2-0 in Melbourne, and that's disappointing.
Melbourne City, without anyone really talking about it, are the huge disappointment.
They are massive.
Because they've in the last 2 seasons have gone from being a really, really terrific team to below average. And
I think when Patrick left is when Patrick is Norwood left to go to France. Aurelio Wittmark just hasn't been able, and we lost. They lost Jamie McLaren and a few other players.
Yeah, you get Scott Jamieson retiring, but as Harry just said, financially,
they got the money.
If the City Group still had an appetite for Melbourne City, they would have invested money in it. I suggest that they're probably running a bit tired on it. I would think, going by what we're seeing that last season and this season, they certainly don't look as though they're throwing any money at them.
Doesn't make sense.
Which is a bit of a shame.
Yep. So the game after that one, guys, this is amazing. I saw this game and I said to myself, umbrellas, rain, thunder, lightning, whatever you saw at MacArthur at Campbelltown there, guys. Honestly, 4-all. Carlos, what did you think of this game?
Well,
unbelievable.
Those true hardcore supporters who turned up, I'm sure, could not believe that they went home after 110 minutes of football with 8 goals in the bag.
Unbelievable.
And Brisbane, well done, Brisbane, for never giving up, and well done to Ruben Satkovic for believing his players. What can you say? The best game, I normally play in the rain with a very wet, soggy pitch. It's 8 goals.
And you don't play in Queensland with that sort of rain. And they've turned up to Sydney at Campbelltown. These guys, it's really dry in Queensland, eh? But let me say, this game here, Western United versus Melbourne Victory, unbelievable. They won't let them play at their home ground because of some security risks. So they moved the game to Melbourne Victory's home ground. So who did it actually did better for it? Because it was Melbourne Victory's ground. So 3-1 Melbourne Victory, and of course, guess who scored goals? Guess who scored? The guy that we really wanted him to score goals for the Socceroos, Bruno Fornaroli. He came on 2 minutes, he scored a goal straight away. I could not believe this.
Mate, did I hear you right saying that Western United's home game was then taken to Melbourne Victory's home pitch?
That's right, exactly, yes.
Yeah, look.
Lunatics have got the keys to the
asylum.
I think the Victorian Police.
Yes, they have.
The first game was played at the ever-evolving ground.
Yes, of course.
For Western Sydney.
Yes.
Which is not there. Next year, it will look totally different to what it looks now. I think Victorian Police raised a lot of issues.
They did.
Around safety, exit to and from the ground, containment, and you just nowadays you have to play safe.
You don't take it to the team you're playing against home and give them the home game.
They could have gone to Geelong. They could have gone anywhere. Geelong or Ballarat.
You don't give the away team the home advantage.
That's right.
Normally normally the trusts for the SCG, like let's take the rugby league games played at Accor Stadium or Stadium Australia, away from the suburban grounds like Belmore Sports Ground, which was the home of the Doggies. They're guaranteed X amount of dollars for taking the game to Stadium Australia at Homebush, regardless whether they get 5 or 500. So we don't know how much did the trust for Amy Park might have given Western United as a guaranteed gate money. Because it happens in rugby league.
It does.
You know, you got Western Tigers, you got the Canterbury Bulldogs playing away from their traditional home ground at Accor Australia, Stadium Australia, and they get a guarantee gate money for playing there. So we don't know. I mean, doesn't make sense. Were there any grants available? Were the facilities required for the A-League in terms of corporate, box set, catering, and all? It is crazy that you literally play at home in your arch enemy's home ground.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's just madness to go and play at the other teams because you can't play at your home ground. I mean, as I said, Geelong, they had Ballarat. They've used those grounds in the past. Probably they didn't book them because thinking that they're going to play at their home ground now at Tarneet out there. But now they've got issues to see whether they're going to be playing there again this year. There's a lot of issues down there, and a lot of them, there's a lot more to come out of this. Now, guys, and of course, guess who missed out last week playing in the A-League? Now, this is really funny to have a team there. Central Coast Mariners didn't play because they had the bye. Are we sick and tired of this having a bye now where one game is not played? You know, Carlos?
Well, when you have 13 teams in the competition, you've got to have a bye each week. I think the bye really affected Melbourne City because they had the FIFA window and they had the bye. So it's like literally 4 weeks before they had a competitive match. And I think it showed. It is what it is when you have 13 teams in the competition. Each week, a team is going to have a break.
Exactly. Now, let me just say right now, we're going to go across now and talk to you guys about the Club World Cup. I've got the teams. I found the teams. Kenny, you're not going to love this. You're not going to like this at all. I'm going to mention these teams.
No, he doesn't like it.
Let me mention, and the 2 teams on top so far, Manchester City, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, PSG, Inter Milan, Juventus, Porto, Benfica, FC Salzburg, Al Ahly. Al Ahly comes from? Al Ahly is
Saudi Arabia.
Yes, and it's the Arabic club, Al Ahly. And
Al Ahly or Al Ahly? Because Al Ahly is Egypt.
Ahly. So it'll be Egypt for sure. Yeah, it's an Egyptian flag. So and then we've got Wydad from Morocco. Wydad from Morocco. SES Tunis. Tunis would be from Tunisia. And of course, now this is a funny one. This is from South Africa, guys. There's a lot of clubs that you guys, when you see this competition played next year, this is another club. I can't believe, I'm going to say this properly. Mamelodi Sundowns. Mamelodi Sundowns. Where do you reckon they're from? Nobody knows.
Well, South Africa.
Botswana.
No, South Africa.
Botswana,
South Africa. Now this is a big surprise. Now yesterday, all of you guys saw this list and said, "What about our Australian teams? What about Hang on for a sec, guys. Before I mention the other teams, and I'm going to mention this team, is that you need to win your Champions League. Is that right, gentlemen? Your Champions League to qualify. Is that right? Is that correct?
Basically, but I mean, how does PSG qualify? They haven't won anything.
You win your league.
Premiership, your league. That's right.
Your league.
But this is what
Champions League.
Okay, now this is what I want.
If it's only Champions League, there's only 4 teams.
Okay, I might have got it wrong, but let me tell you who the next team is, and I think maybe they must be the lowest ranked team out of New Zealand. Okay, Auckland City. So there you go. Now, why not have 2 teams?
Auckland City did very well when they went to their last World Club Championship in Morocco, I believe. They did New Zealand football proud. Look, the only winners in this competition are the smaller clubs like Auckland City, who haven't played 70, 80 games in the season. They will pick up a huge purse. They're the only winners of the smaller clubs. The big clubs, the Real Madrids, City, they don't want to be there. None of the players, I know they have light squads, and yes, there's rotation involved from Ancelotti and Guardiola and this and that to manage the load, but they don't want to be there. The only winners are the Minos, who are there for the prestige and bring home a massive pay packet.
It doesn't make sense to me, because when I'm going to read you some teams here in a minute and tell you all about them. Al Hilal, right? Another Arabic team, Al Hilal.
Saudi
Arabia. And Urawa Red Diamonds, of course, Japan. Urawa Red Diamonds. And let me tell you. Go on, Carlos.
They've got the runs on the board. I mean,
of course they have. And of course, we've got here Ulsan HDFC. They're from Korea, South Korea. And now this is a beauty. This is a beauty, guys. Everybody listen to these teams. Seattle Sounders, Seattle MLS, Seattle Sounders America, and of course, Gianni Infantino's favourite team to make it. Guess who? Inter Miami. He was the one that spilt the beans that day when they won the championship. And also we've got here now Monterrey from Mexico. We've got Club Leon and this is what I want to talk to you about. Club Leon, Mexico, and Pachuca or something. Pachuca. Why 3 teams from Mexico? Why? They got 3 competitions? Why 3 teams? That's what I can't understand.
Look, I haven't read the criteria.
That's crazy.
I will assume. Okay, so a lot of South countries overseas have the Apertura, which is an opening championship.
Yes.
Then they have a middle league, and they have the closing championship. So I will say that the 3 teams in Mexico, one has won the Apertura, which is the first league.
Yep.
They are one of the middle one, and the intermediate league, Club and the other one the Clausura, which is the closure.
Okay.
So in Uruguay they have 3 different, and then they total the tallies. You know, they have this like club championships, and they declare the winner. You know, the Apertura plays the Clausura winners for the champion. So I will say there's 3 teams because each team will have one tournament within the domestic league. Yeah. But I have not read the criteria.
Well, let me tell you about these 2 teams right now and where they're coming from. And I tell you what, these guys will be favourites, absolute favourites. From Argentina, of course, River Plate and Boca Juniors. Man, those clubs have been around for hell. Oops.
How are they going to fit all these games in?
Let me.
How many? Is it a 1-game knockout? Is it?
I don't know. There's groups of 4, 32 teams. Kenny, the same as the former World Cup. That's what it is. So let me just say
and over what period of time are they playing it?
We have no idea. They're the teams. They've got to put the stuff down, and we'll see what happens.
June, July.
Okay.
June, July. So
that's
so you finish a football season in May, then you have maybe 2 weeks rest, and you're playing again.
It wasn't before. It used to be May because it was during the FA Cup final. They used to play it, which was the 10th of May. So they must have moved it.
Okay. Now the next 4 clubs, and this is another thing I'm trying to find out.
I'll need Morgadon if you keep this going.
There's 4 more, Kenny, 4 more, and then I've got something else to say, which you're going to freak out too. And 4 clubs from Brazil. 4 clubs from Brazil. Why does this work? Palmeiras, Flamengo, Fluminense,
Fluminense,
yeah, and Botafogo. So how?
Well, Botafogo, I believe, has won the Copa Libertadores, which is the equivalent of the European Champions League, right?
Okay.
Palmeiras has won the equivalent of the Europa League in South America.
Yes.
So there is a connection. They have won a major tournament in South America, club tournament, and the other 2 probably won the domestic league in Brazil. I haven't had time to do the research.
Flamenco's
massive club. And before when I said to you before, Al Ahly, they're from Egypt. Al Ahly from Egypt.
So who's going from Australia?
Not one club's there. Not one club is there. Nothing.
Why?
I don't know why. That the
Because
list.
we haven't won the Champions League. We haven't won an African Champions League. I mean, the Wanderers way too old for it. They have to be recent winners.
I don't know why we don't have any of our clubs there, and people are saying we're our clubs.
The other teams are no Champions League winners.
That doesn't make sense. What you're saying is exactly doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, it's
Where's Central Coast Mariners not? Why are they not playing? That's what I can't understand.
That's right.
Why are they not playing?
Well, when was that? When did Ange take the team there? It was Melbourne Victory, wasn't it?
South Melbourne. South Melbourne.
1995.
South
95.
Melbourne. That's right.
And that was they were
somewhere there.
Yeah, they were just league winners. Yeah.
That's so. So what is the problem? Why is it because we?
Well,
doesn't make sense.
It's either an invitation. You know what we've got here? We've got I suppose the second division. You know, half the teams qualify, half are invited. You know, it's such a mixed bag that
doesn't make sense.
What is it? Is it a charity event? Is it a?
It's a money.
Well, obviously, yeah.
It's money,
but it makes no sense. I mean, again, I say, you know, we're diluting the quality of our football worldwide in the excitement of trying to chase dollars. And at some point, we've got to stop. You know, at some point, it's got to stop.
Kenny,
because
I had to tell you. I had to tell you what's next, right here, right now in front of me, and I've done my studies and everything. Now we're talking here about the for the AFC.
No Scottish teams in there.
No Scottish teams. Nothing.
Rangers, Celtic, nothing. No?
Nothing.
Nah.
Why is it? I can't understand.
Seriously.
There's that.
Seriously.
I need to drop the tablet. There's that many leagues. That why is there?
So it's an invitation tournament then, obviously.
Well, I just can't believe it. You got Manchester City. And you've got so where they Manchester City, of course, they won it last year, didn't they?
Yes.
And of course Chelsea. Why Chelsea there?
Before, Chelsea won under Tuchel the Champions League. I think it's 2018, 19, and then you got the other coach who also won the Champions League with Chelsea when they beat Bayern Munich.
Yeah. So
the Italian-born coach that was sent packing by Abramovich. But Chelsea has won 2 Champions League, one under Tuchel and the other under Roberto. I remember his name.
And we spoke earlier about Porto and Benfica. Why two teams? This is what I can't understand. Porto and Benfica from Portugal. I mean, some of these teams you're saying to yourself, why wouldn't there just be one championship team rather than having so many teams from the same country that they're using? I mean, there's so many competitions around the world that are not even represented, Kenny. They're not even represented. How could you call this a World Club Championship?
Well, you can't. You can't. I mean, it has to be if you're going to do it properly, it's got to be the league champions.
Exactly.
And that's what it used to be. And when Man United played on it and refused to play in the FA Cup, so the format's changed again. You know, it's turned into let's bring, South African teams. I mean, there's not a team from Hong Kong in there. There's not a team from Malaysia in there.
No.
Is there a Singapore team?
No.
Not Indonesian team.
No. Well, this is next. This is the new league that's going to happen in a couple of years' time, maybe 2027. Kenny, I hate to tell you how many competitions FIFA are making at the moment. I just can't believe it. Where are they getting? They've got the money. Are they trying to spend more money to make? And let me tell you, everyone right now too is also. We spoke about the ASEAN Champions League that they're trying to put together in 2026, which they're going to do. They're saying, and of course, getting Australian teams. I don't understand that's going to work because they're saying. You've got to put in for it. You've got to put your invitation, put yourself in there. But this is another league that FIFA are doing, guys. The AFC Nations League. They're copying here, Kenny. You can laugh at this one. Now there's 3 groups here: A, B, and C. 3 groups.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
And so you've also got here Japan, New Zealand, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. That's the Arab side of it, with also North Korea in that one.
West Asia.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're talking Group B here with India, of course, Indonesia, Lebanon as well in that one. There's a few more clubs here. They've got Pakistan in Group C. Pakistan. They've got Ghana. How are Ghana going to play? Ghana. What has Ghana got to do with this? Doesn't make sense.
As the famous movie said, "You lost me at hello."
This is weird.
The idea of the League of Nations in Europe is to group countries of a similar level. France, Spain in the same group.
Yes.
San Marino is in Group C because San Marino were the whipping boys of world football, Malta.
Okay. Yes.
So the idea of these groups was to give a chance for the minnows not to get flogged every week, but to achieve some morale boosting results. And San Marino won 2 games and they're over the moon. So the same principle. And then the League of Nations, remember England did not win a single game and dropped to the B division.
Yes.
Then the rankings from the League of Nations in Europe is used to in the pots for the World Cup qualifiers. So it has merit, and obviously Pakistan, cricket and hockey is the number 1 sport. Football is playing catch up.
Yes.
Myanmar, Mongolia, Timor-Leste, they can't be put against the Japans of this world. Look at the Mariana Islands when they came to play in the under 16 in Shepparton. They got flogged but they only got 4th population that's so tiny. So to me, it makes sense to group those teams and countries according to ability.
But we can't be all things to all people, mate. I mean, the world's
Yeah,
I mean, we're getting stupid now, you know. I mean, it's really getting ridiculous. You know, A, B, I mean, England's playing half a team when they're playing Greece, and then when they have to play a proper team, they put the full team out. You know,
they were injured.
No, they weren't
injured.
No.
Well, the doctor ruled them injured.
Let me tell you, Foden pulled out and played on the Saturday for Man City, and so did the Chelsea lad. You know, they both pulled out on the game, and then amazingly made a dramatic and remarkable recovery on the Saturday or the Sunday.
Absolutely.
You know, and you never see in the old school, old days, old internationals. If you pulled out the national team, you weren't allowed to play the following weekend.
Fair enough.
That was the old rule, right? That was the old rule to protect, so that players, that clubs weren't dominating. Like, for example, back in the day when the players would say, "Oh, we don't want you to go and play for England or Scotland just in case you get injured because we got a big game against Man United or Liverpool." So to fix that, they said, if you're selected for your country and you pull out through injury, you're not, the following weekend, you're not allowed to play for your club. That's gone out the window again, you know. So again, it comes down to credibility. You know, I mean, it just gets to the point where you look at it and you go, really,
congestion.
You know?
It's also about fixture congestion,
And
the clubs pay your wages, and you just got to manage that fatigue level. So
okay, before
I'm hoping the FIFA Pro, which is a World Player Union, actually takes FIFA to court over the scheduling of games, and because players are not robots, they have to have a decent rest between seasons.
It's coming to the time where you're going to have 2 national teams. I'm serious. 2 national teams for one country. It's going to happen. You're going to see what happens in the next few years. You're going to have 2 national teams. And it sounds like, Carlos, what you're saying, they're going to start doing that, you know. And let me say something before we go tonight, guys. We've had some news about a week ago about Channel 31 wanting the Football S show. And next week we talk to, of course, Channel 31, the programming manager, on the 11th of December. We speak to her. I talk to her, and we organise our first show in March on Channel 31. So we're moving to TV, guys. We're moving to TV. Carlos, how are you going to feel being a star on TV, Carlos? How do you feel that?
Well, I think it's a reward for your passion,
a lot of work, mate,
and your hard work, Harry, that you put as admission. you put the best of Football S as part of the submission.
I did.
And I think it's a reward for your passion and hard work. And it's the next journey. And I'm looking forward to the next journey. And I'll also be getting coaching on screen presence and camera coaching.
You have the right person with you too. I know that exactly.
But no, I know a person who does that.
Yes.
But I think it's exciting for you, Harry, and I congratulate you.
Oh, it's a lot of work.
Because you put a lot of work into Football S week in, week out. And I know that written submission takes a lot of effort
Tell you what.
and thought, and to come off, I think, congratulations, Harry.
Kenny, yeah.
I'm really proud of you,
Thank
Harry,
you. No
and I
worries.
think everyone else
We've all got a lot of work to
will
do.
say the same thing.
Thanks for everybody for supporting the Football Less Show, because I tell you what, guys, we're moving to the next level, and we're going to be looking for sponsors. Sponsors have already come in. They're talking to me already. They want to advertise. If your club is out there and you're looking for promotion of your club, this is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to actually promote the clubs. It's all about community. We're going to be in a studio. They've got a fantastic studio in there with cameras and everything, cameramen, the whole thing. Also, we're going to be doing our first show outside in a community setting. So it opens up with a bang at a community club. And we're talking about doing the community clubs every month. Once a month we'll be doing a community club. The next 3 weeks we'll be doing in the studio at Channel 31. We're going to have guests. It's going to be a panel show. Kenny, are you going to join us as well in Melbourne if the sponsors pay you a bit of money there for coming to Melbourne, of course?
Mate, for you, I'd take the trip.
Here we go.
For you, but no one else.
Oh, here we go. But this is a really big thing. We're going to find out more news on the 11th, which means next week's going to be a very special show, Kenny. We've got a lot of your friends on the show. Let's advertise this. Let me tell you
Does
about
Kenny
this
have
show.
friends?
Let me tell you about next week's show. You guys are going to love. What an idea it was to actually think about this. Now, in 1977, we're talking here about the Phillips League. Started in 1977, and what did they do to promote the players? What did they do? They brought out the Scanlon's the Scanlon soccer cards with a lot of players that they brought out from overseas and everything, and they promoted them. And we're going to have a lot of these guys who are on those cards, and we're going to be showing those cards for advertising tomorrow to bring these guys on next. Well, we're going to have players. These guys, it'd be like as if we're going back to the future, we're going to have all these cards on around us, and they're going to be seeing all the cards as well on screen, guys, and it's going to be a lot of fun next week. And of course, guess who spoke to me? Yes, I'm in. And guess who said that? Peter Blasby. Remember Peter Blasby? He loved it. He loved it.
I'm looking forward to next week.
It's going to be amazing, guys. Thank you, guys. Next week, we'll see you guys. Football Less again with this amazing show about the Scanlon soccer cards. Thank you for joining, guys. And more news about the Football Less show on Channel 31, guys. Thank you for joining me, Kenny, and of course, Carlos. Thanks, guys.